Let's take another look at the aluminum boats. Remember, I measured length times width times height. Length times width times height gives me the volume. As you can see, the volume of boat 1 is different from the volume of boat 2, but the masses should be the same. Both boat 1 and boat 2 were made from this same size aluminum foil sheet. It's 2 grams. Boat 1 should be 2 grams. 2 grams. And boat 2 should also be 2 grams. 2 grams. As you can see, boat 1 is 8 centimeters by 6.5 centimeters by 2 centimeters equals 104 cubic centimeters. Boat 2 is 12 centimeters by 8 centimeters by 2 centimeters. That equals 192 cubic centimeters. Since density equals mass divided by volume, D equals m/v, boat 1's density is 2 grams divided by 104 cubic centimeters. So the density is 0.02 grams per cubic centimeter. Boat 2's density is 2 grams divided by 192 centimeters cubed, or cubic centimeters. That equals 0.01 grams per cubic centimeter. So both boat 1 and boat 2 have the same mass but different volumes. But what about objects that have the same volume but different masses? I have 4 cubes. Each has the same volume, 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters, or 8 cubic centimeters. But they have a different mass. Aluminum is 20 grams, silver 55 grams, bronze 61 grams, and brass 64 grams. Different masses. So here we have the same mass but different volumes. Here we have the same volume but different mass. What would happen if we don't know about the volume? We can't measure this. Let's see how much we have. And we have 5 milliliters. Let's see what the mass of the ball is. 20 grams. Boat 1, the volume is 8 centimeters by 6.5 centimeters by 2 centimeters, and that equals 330 cubic centimeters. The mass is 2 grams. The density is 2 grams divided by 104 cubic centimeters, so that is going to be a density of 0.02 grams per cubic centimeter. Boat 2, the volume is 12 centimeters by 8 centimeters by 2 centimeters, and that equals 192 cubic centimeters. The mass is 2 grams. The density of boat 2 is 2 grams divided by 192 cubic centimeters, and that equals 0.01 grams per cubic centimeter. The 4 cubes, first cube is aluminum. The volume is 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters, equals 8 cubic centimeters. The mass is 20 grams. The density is 2.5 grams per cubic centimeter. The silver cube is 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. That equals 8 cubic centimeters. The mass is 55 grams. The density is 6.88 grams per cubic centimeter. The bronze cube is 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. That equals 8 cubic centimeters. The mass is 61 grams. The density is 7.63 grams per cubic centimeter. The brass cube is 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters. That equals 8 cubic centimeters. The mass is 64 grams. The density is 8 grams per cubic centimeter. The ball is 5 milliliters. The mass is 20 grams. The density is 4 grams per cubic centimeter. So let's take a look at water and ocean water. They both have different densities. They will affect sink or float. So let's try an egg in the water. Sink or float? What do you think? Sink. The egg sunk. Now let's try one in the ocean water or salt water. Sink or float? What do you think? Here we go. And it floats. Why? Because salt water has a greater density. I think I'd rather go swimming in the ocean. So let's check the densities of different liquids. Let's compare tap water, salt water, an ice cube, the actual water from the ice cube, glycerin, vinegar, olive oil, and MCT oil, a concentrated coconut oil. We'll use 50 milliliters of each liquid. Let's start with the tap water. 50 grams. 50 grams of 50 milliliters of tap water, so the density is 1 gram per milliliter. Let's do the salt water. All right, the 56 grams. So 56 grams, the density of the salt water is 1.12 grams per milliliter. Now let's try an ice cube. 2.5 by 2.5 by 2.5. and 11 grams. So density equals mass divided by volume. Let's see what we have. The volume is 15.62. So the 11 grams. The density of the ice cube is 0.71. Now let's see the density of the melted ice cube. But we'll have to wait and come back because it's not melted yet.
A few moments later.
So the ice has melted. Let's see what the density of this is. $11 milliliters and 11 grams. So the density of the melted water is 1 gram per milliliter. Now let's find the density of the other 4 liquids. So let's take a look at the density of all the liquids. The tap water, the volume of 50 milliliters, the mass was 50 grams, so the density was 1 gram per milliliter. The 50 milliliters of salt water was 56 grams. The density, 1.12 grams per milliliter. The ice cube, the volume was 15.62 centimeters, cubic centimeters, the mass 11 grams, So the density of the ice cube was 0.71 grams per milliliter. The ice water was 11 milliliters for the volume. The mass was 11 grams, so 1 gram per milliliter. The glycerin, 50 milliliters, was 57 grams. The density, 1.14 grams per milliliter. The vinegar, the mass was 48 grams. The density, 0.96 grams per milliliter. The olive oil was 37 grams, or 0.74 grams per milliliter. And the MCT oil was 42 grams, or 0.84 grams per milliliter. There you have it, the comparison of the density of liquids.